Hi guys, another question of Prelims 2022 that is fully solvable through PYQs is given on the rightmost part of your screen in the column headed Prelims 2022 question. The question read, consider the following statements. DNA barcoding can be a tool to, the first statement says, assess the age of a plant or animal. The second says, distinguish among species that look alike. And the third one says, identify undesirable animal or plant materials in processed foods. So basically it is asking what can we achieve through DNA. Barcoding means just identifying whose DNA it is. So if you have a piece of DNA, out of these three statements, what things can you do? So we have a question from 2011 here, and the question says, come to the leftmost part of your screen in the column headed related PYQ. It says, at present, scientists can determine the arrangement or relative positions of genes or DNA on a chromosome. That's immaterial for our purpose here. It says, how does this knowledge benefit us? The first statement says, it is possible to know the pedigree of livestock. Only the first statement will suffice for our purpose here in marking the answer of 2022. So we are not reading the second and the third statements of 2011. The answer of the 2011 question is Charlie, C option. C option says 1 and 3. So the first statement is correct, right? So this means that from DNA, we can know the pedigree of livestock, or say, let's say animals, okay, or even humans. Whoever has got DNA, its pedigree can be known through DNA. Pedigree means what? Ancestry. Who was the father? Who's the grandfather? Who was the great grandfather? Right? The whole lineage can be identified through DNA. Now, if you think about it, is this not an advanced step of identification? By advanced step, I mean, firstly, you need to be able to distinguish whether a piece of DNA you have in your hands is of a cat, a mouse, or crocodile, a tiger, right? You need to first be able to identify the animal or the thing whose DNA you are holding. That is the first step. This is the base level of identification, and then only the advanced level will come, the lineage. Okay, so once you are able to identify, okay, the DNA in your hands is of a tiger, for example, right, then the whole lineage, the ancestry of that tiger, you will be able to identify. So if the first statement is correct of 2011, if you are able to identify the lineage, the ancestry, this means that you will for sure be able to identify whether it was a tiger or a crocodile or a tortoise or a human or whatnot, right? With this background in mind, come to the 2022 question, the second statement. It says, DNA will help us in distinguishing between species that look alike. Yes, it has to be the case, because let's, for example, talk about the tiger only. We've got different varieties of tiger, right? We've got Royal Bengal tiger, hai 12 tiger range countries are there. So different tiger varieties, Siberian tiger, etc. Different kinds of tigers are there. So if you have a DNA, or if you have comparable 2, 3, 4 DNAs, can you tell which tiger species are we talking about? Yes, that has to be the case, because unless you are able to identify which species you are talking about, you cannot tell its ancestry, right? So the second statement has to be correct. If the second statement is correct, come to the options. The answer can only be Charlie or Delta, right? A and B, Alpha and Bravo, cannot be the answers because they do not contain the second statement. Now the fight is between 1 and 3. Either the first one has to be correct or the third statement has to be correct. Let's come to the third statement. It says it can identify undesirable animal or plant materials in processed foods. Now it's just a very complicated way of saying whatever foods are there, processed food, what components, what things have gone into making that processed food can be identified through DNA. Desirable, undesirable is just, a subjective thing that's immaterial for the third statement. The idea is that if you have a food in your hand, a processed food, can you identify what thing has been used in making that food? Again, that has to be possible, because if you are able to distinguish between two species that look alike, if you can distinguish between maybe the Indian rhino and the Sumatran rhino or the African rhino, can you not then distinguish whether in a processed food what kind of animal or what kind of a plant has been used in making it. Bring into account, just bring to your mind this Chinese medicine concept, right? Pangolins are this thing poached. Different other animals are poached. They are killed for making that Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. So if you have that stuff in your hand, there is that DNA, right? You get that DNA. Can you identify which animal was used in making that thing? It is possible, right? So if you can distinguish between two species that look alike, for sure you can distinguish what species was used in making that product, right? So the third statement has to be, for sure, the third is a baser statement compared to the second one. Just like the second statement of 2022 is a baser statement compared to the first statement of 2011, the third is a baser statement compared to the second statement of 2022. So if the second statement is correct, the third statement has to be correct. That means the answer to the 2022 question, the best answer is delta 2 and 3. So guys, this is how previous year questions are helpful in marking the questions correctly in exam. And regarding this theme of DNA, there are multiple questions. Most of them are indirect. I'll put those indirect questions in the Telegram group that I'll be making for the people who are purchasing the PDF. The PDF is available at ₹99, guys. All the details are given in the description of this video. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.